So here's something that sounds completely weird, completely backwards. The harder I fought against getting older, the faster I aged. Every wrinkle that I hated created even more stress lines, and every ache that I resisted became more painful. Every change that I refused to accept, well, the change accelerated. I was literally aging myself faster than time by fighting it. I'm Penelope Lane, and today I'm sharing, well, a number of things, but a Buddhist teaching as well that changed everything in my life, and I know it has changed the lives of many other people. And the science that proves why acceptance actually slows decline, it doesn't speed it up. For years, I was at war with my body. Every wrinkle, as I said, was an enemy, and every ache was a betrayal. I'd look in the mirror thinking, well, no, this isn't me. I won't accept this. When my back hurt, I'd push through with annoyance. And when I couldn't do what I used to be able to do, I'd criticize myself severely. When someone treated me like I was old, I would rage internally. I'm wondering if this resonates. So here's what all that fighting actually did. It kept my body flooded with stress hormones, cortisol, so I was in that constant fight or flight mode. It made me rigid, so I couldn't adapt, or find creative solutions because I was, too busy insisting that things, shouldn't be changing. And here's the cruel irony, that chronic stress from resistance, well, that was accelerating everything I was trying to prevent. The tension, the self-judgment, the sleepless nights, all of it was making my decline faster. I was fighting aging so hard, I was aging myself more in the process. So the Buddhist teaching I was referring to is the two arrows teaching, and it's changed how I understand this. So the first arrow you get struck with and it hurts. So that's the actual pain of what's happening. For us, in this example, it's aging itself. Our bodies are changing a lot. Things are getting harder. There's real pain, stiffness and, loss. That's the first arrow, and it's real. The second arrow, we strike that at ourselves, and it's resistance, the rage about what's happening. This shouldn't be happening. This isn't fair. I can't accept this. Why me? That second arrow, you're shooting at yourself. We're shooting it at ourselves, and it does more damage than the first one. So here's the helpful insight. You can't control the first arrow, aging happens, of course, but you've got complete control over the second one. You can choose whether to add resistance and suffering on top of the actual challenges of the first arrow. When you're in constant resistance, your body reads that as a threat. Your nervous system gets activated, and cortisol, which is one of the stress hormones, well, that floods, your system. And chronic stress does measurable damage. It shrinks the hippocampus, which is the memory center of our brains. It accelerates cellular aging at the DNA level, and it increases chronic inflammation throughout the body. And it disrupts sleep, which accelerates cognitive decline, brain decline. Your resistance to aging is literally aging you faster. Plus, resistance makes you rigid, and rigidity is the opposite of resilience, which we need to live well in our lives. When you're rigid, you can't adapt, and you insist things should be the way that they used to be. So you can't work with the way things actually are. All of that energy fighting reality, well, that's energy that you could be using to actually, build strength and connection and that sense of purpose. A lot of people think that acceptance means giving up. Well, it doesn't. So acceptance is not, liking what's happening. It's not thinking it's fair. It's not resigning yourself to decline, letting yourself go. In fact, acceptance is simply seeing reality clearly. My body is changing. This is hard. I hate it sometimes. And that's what's happening. Well, that's acceptance. And here's the paradox, the two truths in a way. When you stop fighting reality, you've got more power to work with it. When you accept, for example, my knee hurts, you can ask, well, what movement works for this knee today? How can I build strength around this? What adaptations can I make? But when you're stuck in this shouldn't be happening, you can't problem solve. You're too busy fighting. So how does acceptance actually slow decline? Well, it helps the nervous system calm. The cortisol decreases. Your body drops the constant fight or flight mode that I was talking about. Memory improves and inflammation, chronic inflammation decreases, and your sleeping can get better as well. You become more flexible, so you can adapt and you can flow and find creative solutions. And that flexibility is basically resilience. And resilience keeps you vital. You have energy for what matters. So all that energy that you used to have for fighting, well, now you can use it to build actual strength, in your body, body practices that work for your current aging body, brain training, emotional resilience, and, building meaningful connections. Acceptance doesn't speed up decline. It slows decline down by reducing the stress that accelerates it. So here's something that you can start today, and I call it the acceptance pause. So when you feel resistance rising, that no, this shouldn't be happening feeling, step one is to notice it. Feel where the resistance lives in your body. A tight chest, clenched jaw, maybe holding your breath, your shoulders up, just noticing that resistance. And step two is softening, so taking a breath, dropping your shoulders, unclenching your jaw, physically softening around the resistance, and placing a hand on your heart or your cheek if that helps, and offering yourself some support via the soothing sense of touch. And third, asking the wise question. So given that this is happening, what's my wisest response? Not how do I make this stop, but how do I work with this reality? That question shifts you from fighting to flourishing. So here's the essence of what I'm sharing. You can hate getting older and accept that it's happening. Both are true. The first arrow, which is aging itself, you can't control. But the second arrow, your resistance and the suffering about it, well, that's in your hands. When you stop shooting yourself with that second arrow, you reduce stress, and that you become more flexible and frees up energy and slows down decline. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's the foundation of whole strength. Try the acceptance pause this week. Notice when you're shooting that second arrow at yourself, and maybe commenting below if that feels comfortable. What are you resisting about aging, and what might acceptance make possible for you in your life? And also subscribe for more videos that are coming each week about aging well in your life and about whole strength after 60. Aging honestly in your life. And remember, you're aging, that's the first arrow, but you don't have to add suffering on top of that. That second arrow you can put down at any time.